Welcome back to the deep dive.
Hello again.
So today we're opening up a document that has it has a really strange place in our collective consciousness, doesn't it? It's something we've all technically read or, at least skimmed through probably when we were about 17 years old and absolutely terrified of failing a test.
Right. It's that book that just sits in the glove compartment, gathering dust, maybe getting a bit yellow in the sun.
And it's completely ignored until, something goes wrong.
We are talking, of course, about the official highway code. Now, I know what you might be thinking. You're probably thinking, look, I have a mortgage to pay. I've got deadlines. I really do not have time to listen to two people recite traffic sign regulations for an hour.
And you know what? If that's what this was, I would be right there with you. I'd skip this one too.
Yeah.
But that is absolutely not what we're doing today.
Yeah.
We're not looking at this book as just, a list of rules to memorize.
Yeah.
We're treating this deep dive more like a diagnostic session, a diagnostic for a piece of machinery that most of us operate every single day, often on complete autopilot.
And often with a really, a terrifying lack of understanding about the actual physics involved.
Exactly. We're analyzing the operating system of UK roads. We've got the 2025 updated the code, but we've also layered in something else, which I think makes this infinitely more valuable.
We've been looking at reflection papers from people who have actually attended the UK speed awareness course.
Ah, okay. So these are the courses that you're offered as an alternative to getting penalty points on your license, right?
Exactly that. And the insights from these papers are they're fascinating. They really are, because they strip away all the bravado.
Right.
These aren't written by, bad drivers. They're written by experienced professional people like you, people like me, who genuinely thought they were in control, right up until the moment that camera flashed.
So we're calling this one the Safe Speed Stack. We're going to try and re-engineer the way you think about driving. And you mentioned during our prep for this that it isn't entirely academic for you, is it? You're bringing a bit of lived experience to the table.
I am. I feel like I have to make a bit of a confession here. I'm usually the one talking about productivity hacks or, management theory.
Sure.
I like to think of myself as organized, disciplined, safe. But not too long ago, I found myself sitting in a room with 20 strangers watching slides about stopping distances because I got caught speeding.
It can happen to any of us.
It can, but that's the whole point. It shouldn't. And that's what I realized. I'm not coming at this today as some kind of speed awareness ambassador because I'm a perfect driver. I'm not.
Okay.
I'm doing it because I realized just how easy it is for your standards to slip. It wasn't malice. I wasn't, drag racing down the A1.
Of course not.
It was just friction, life friction. And that, I think, is what we really need to unpack today. That gap between the driver we all think we are and the driver the laws of physics say we are.
I think that is the perfect place to start. So before we even get into the rules and regulations, let's just talk about that headspace. Let's do a cold open. I want to put you, the listener, right there in the driver's seat.
Okay, set the scene. Imagine it's a Tuesday morning. You're in the car, driving. You're on your way to a big client meeting, or maybe it's an all hands at the office you just can't be late for. But here's the kicker. You are 10 minutes late.
And it could be for any reason. The alarm didn't go off, you spilled coffee on your shirt, the kids wouldn't get their shoes on. It doesn't really matter why. The point is, you are already behind the curve.
Exactly. So you're physically in the car, but mentally.
Yeah.
Mentally, you are already in that meeting room rehearsing your apology.
Yeah.
You're checking the clock on the dashboard every 30 seconds. Your hands are gripping the wheel a bit too tight. White knuckles. Your cortisol levels are through the roof.
And then you enter the 30-mile-an-hour zone. But you look at the road, and it's wide, it's open, the tarmac is perfect, there are no pedestrians around. It's, say, 9:45 in the morning, so the school run chaos is long over.
And that's when the internal monologue starts up, that little voice of rationalization. It starts whispering, if I just push this to 35, maybe 38, I can make that green light up ahead. It's only 5 miles an hour over. It's nothing. Nobody's around. I'm a good driver. I have executive control over this vehicle.
And then snap.
The double flash of a camera. Or worse, the blue lights appearing in your rearview mirror.
And in that single millisecond, that whole narrative of executive control just it completely collapses.
It's gone.
It's replaced instantly by executive stress and this sudden awful realization that you've just violated a contract you didn't even really think about.
That transition, that exact moment of going from I'm fine, I'm managing my time to, oh no, I've really messed up. That's where we want to live for the next hour. Because that mindset, that just a little bit over mentality, that is the root cause of the vast majority of incidents on UK roads.
So let's define the core idea here. If we strip away all the signage, the road markings, the rote learning, what is the highway code actually trying to tell us?
Well, if you look at the introduction to the source material, especially the big updates from 2022 around the hierarchy of road users, the whole definition of driving has fundamentally shifted.
It used to be seen as more of a rule book, right? Just do this, don't do that.
Exactly. But if you read Rule H1 closely now, it frames driving as a shared safety contract.
A contract, I like that.
Yeah, and it's a contract based on pure physics. It states, and I'm paraphrasing here, those in charge of vehicles that can cause the greatest harm in a collision bear the greatest responsibility to take care and reduce the danger they pose to others.
This is a really, really important concept to get our heads around, isn't it? It completely destroys the old, unspoken, might is right philosophy of the road.
It does.
It used to be, if I'm in a huge lorry, you and your little hatchback need to get out of my way because I'm bigger. The code now says the absolute opposite. It says, because I'm in the big lorry, I am the primary guardian of safety for the cyclist next to me, for the pedestrian waiting to cross, for the person on horseback.
It's a complete inversion of power. It connects responsibility directly to the mass and momentum of your vehicle. And that brings us perfectly to the next big concept, the harm multiplier.
And this came up a lot in those speed awareness course reflection papers you mentioned.
It did. One of the instructors made a point that really stuck with the person who wrote the reflection. We tend to view speed as a tool for efficiency.
Sure. Speed equals distance over time. More speed, less time. Simple.
It's a productivity tool, right? But on the road, that logic is flawed. Speed is a terrible tool for saving time, but it's an incredibly efficient tool for multiplying harm.
Explain.
The input. So increasing your speed by 5 or 10 miles an hour has a pretty negligible effect on your actual arrival time, because of traffic flow, traffic lights, general congestion.
Right.
But it has an exponential effect on the kinetic energy you carry into a potential collision.
So when you get behind the wheel, you aren't just commuting. You're effectively signing a contract that says, I understand I am operating a harm multiplier.
Yes. Or, to be more blunt about it, I understand I'm operating a weapon.
A weapon that weighs 2 tons and, in a 30 zone, is moving at 44 feet every single second.
When you frame it like that, just 5 miles an hour over sounds very different, doesn't it?
It's just like negligence.
It is negligence, but we do it. Smart people do it because we've convinced ourselves we can somehow beat the system. And that leads us perfectly into our first section, the diagnostics. Why do smart people keep failing this contract?
We've identified 3 specific missteps from the source material. 3 cognitive errors that seem to explain this behavior. Let's start with misstep number 1, the target fallacy.
This one relates directly to Rule 146 of the code. It says to adapt your driving to the appropriate type and condition of road. But the key guidance is this: do not treat speed limits as a target.
I think this is so hardwired into us. You see a sign, a red circle with the number 60 in it. Your brain immediately interprets that as a command. The speed is 60, therefore I must do 60.
It's like the gamification of driving, isn't it? If I'm doing 45 in a 60 zone, I feel suboptimal.
Yes.
I feel like I'm failing the level. I can feel the pressure from the car behind me. I feel like I'm wasting my own time.
But the limit is, and has always been, a ceiling. It's not a floor.
Exactly. It is the absolute maximum permissible speed under perfect conditions. And I mean, how often are conditions actually perfect here in the UK?
Almost never.
We have blind bends, narrow country lanes, wet leaves on the road in autumn, sun glare, potholes.
Cyclists, tractors, the list is endless.
The safe speed for a particular stretch of road might be 40 miles an hour, even if the legal limit is 60.
The reflection paper pointed out a specific danger here. If you drive at the limit, regardless of the conditions, you are prioritizing the rule over the reality.
That is the target fallacy in a nutshell. You are looking at the sign, not the road in front of you. If you hit a patch of black ice on a bend doing 60, that sign isn't going to save you.
No.
The laws of physics do not care one bit about the Road Traffic Act. They only care about the coefficient of friction between your tires and the road.
So diagnostic number one is, are you driving to the number on the stick or are you driving to the reality on the tarmac?
Which brings us to misstep number 2. And according to the data, this is the one that actually catches the most people out. It's the autopilot error, specifically when it comes to dual carriageways.
Yes, this is a massive area of confusion. I would bet a significant portion of our listeners have this one wrong.
I'll be honest, I had it wrong for years. The misconception is this. If a road has a central reservation, a physical barrier, a grass strip, a concrete divide, separating you from the oncoming traffic,
you automatically assume it's a 70-mile-an-hour road.
Yes, because it looks and feels like a motorway. It has the infrastructure of a fast road.
Right.
But the sources are crystal clear on this. The presence of a central reservation does not automatically make a road a 70. There are dual carriageways all over the country that are 40, 50, even 30 miles an hour.
So how are you supposed to know? If you're driving on a new road, it's got a big divider in the middle. How do you know if you're about to lose your license?
Well, you look for the signs, obviously, but the tricky part is, what if there are no signs? This is where Rule 124 becomes absolutely critical. It's what's known as the streetlight rule.
This is such a critical diagnostic tool. Can you walk us through it?
It is deceptively simple. If there's a system of street lighting, so lamps spaced, usually less than 200 yards apart, what is the default speed limit?
It's 30 miles an hour.
It's 30, unless there are specific repeater signs telling you otherwise.
And that's the key bit, isn't it? The absence of signs.
That's the trap. If you are on a dual carriageway and you see a system of streetlights and you look for a speed limit sign but you cannot find one, the limit is 30.
Even if the road is 3 lanes wide and feels like an urban motorway?
Even then, the logic behind it is streetlights imply a built-up area. A built-up area implies pedestrians. Pedestrians imply 30 miles an hour.
That is profound in its simplicity, but absolutely terrifying in practice. Because if you assume it's 70 because of the central reservation, and it's actually 30 because of the lights,
you are doing more than double the speed limit. That is not points on your license. That is an instant ban. That's a court appearance. It's huge.
The mantra they taught at the speed awareness course on this was fantastic. It was simply, uncertainty defaults to slow.
That is the rule to live by. If you don't know for sure, you slow down. You never, ever guess high.
Okay, let's move on to misstep number 3. This is the physics denial. And this is all about stopping distances.
This is where the reflection papers got quite dark, actually. It's clear that we as drivers simply do not understand how much space we need to stop a car. We underestimate it wildly.
The highway code breaks it down into 2 distinct components, doesn't it? There's thinking distance and braking distance.
Yes, thinking distance is pure biology. It's the time it takes for your eye to see the hazard, for your brain to process the signal danger, and for your leg muscle to get the message and physically move your foot onto the brake pedal.
And that all takes time. It's not instantaneous.
Not at all. At just 30 miles an hour, in that split second of thinking time, your car travels 9 meters.
9 meters.
That's about 3 car lengths, and you haven't even started slowing down yet.
Then the brakes actually engage.
Then you need another 14 meters for the brakes to physically overcome the car's momentum and bring the wheels to a stop. So total, 23 meters, or about 6 car lengths.
And it's crucial to remember that's on a good, dry road, with you being fully alert, maybe a fresh cup of coffee in your system.
Exactly. Now let's start adding the multipliers from the source material. What happens when it starts to rain? That's Rule 227.
Your stopping distance is double.
They double, just like that. So 23 meters suddenly becomes 46 meters. That is half the length of a football pitch, just to stop your car from 30 miles an hour.
And what if it's icy? That's Rule 230.
Then they can be 10 times greater. 10. You are essentially sliding on a frictionless surface at that point. You have virtually no control.
I think the most sobering statistic in the entire document is in Rule 207. It's the fatality risk curve for pedestrians.
This is why we care so much about the difference between 30 and 40. If you had a pedestrian at 40 miles an hour, the probability of you killing them it's extremely high. Some studies put it as high as 90%.
And at 30 miles an hour.
It drops significantly.
Down to 20 miles an hour.
Dropped to around a 5% chance. Some say as low as 2.5%.
So the difference between 40 and 20 isn't just getting there a little bit slower. It is quite literally the difference between planning a funeral and maybe dealing with the bruise.
Kill your speed is a slogan we've all heard a million times. It's almost become background noise. But when you look at that graph, it's literal. You are killing the kinetic energy that destroys human bodies.
Okay, so we have the diagnostics. We fail because we treat limits as targets, we misread the environment, especially with streetlights, and we live in a state of denial about the physics of stopping.
We are, for the most part, driving on luck.
So how do we switch from driving on luck to driving on skill? Let's move to section 2, the solve framework. We're calling this the safe speed stack.
I like the term stack because it implies an order of operations, a process. You can't just skip a step. It's a 3-part system designed to replace guessing with precision.
So stack layer 1, the internal audit. This comes directly from the speed awareness course material. They use an acronym, HASTE.
HASTE. This is a diagnostic check you run on your own brain before you even turn the key. Or if you're already driving and you feel that tension rising, you run the haste check then.
Okay, break it down for us.
H is for hurried. A is for angry. S is for stressed. T is for tired. And E is for excited.
Let's just pick apart tired for a moment. Rule 91 in the code is surprisingly specific about this, isn't it?
It is. It actually advises avoiding long journeys between the hours of midnight and 6 a.m. It acknowledges that fatigue chemically mimics intoxication. If you're tired, your reaction times are shot.
But I think hurried and angry are the ones that affect the daily commuter the most. It's that executive stress we talked about at the start.
Absolutely. So the internal audit works like this. You get in the car and you ask yourself, am I angry? If the answer is yes, you must apply a microcorrection.
And what's the microcorrection?
You must consciously and deliberately lower your speed.
So why lower the speed?
To compensate for your lowered reaction time. It's that simple. If you're angry, you get tunnel vision. You are cognitively compromised. By intentionally dropping your speed by, say, 5 miles an hour, you are buying back the thinking time that your anger is actively stealing from you.
That is such a practical and powerful takeaway. It's not some useless advice like don't be angry because we're human, we get angry.
Of course.
It's angry then slower. A simple, actionable formula.
Exactly. You are adjusting the difficulty setting of the drive to match your mental and emotional capabilities in that specific moment.
Okay. Stack layer 2, the environment scan. So this is moving from inside your head to what's outside the windscreen. Hazard prediction.
The course teaches a really important shift from just looking at the road to actively scanning it. You're hunting for 3 specific types of clues.
What are they?
First, you've got design clues. What is the road itself telling you? Look at the paint on the road. Rule 129 talks about solid white lines. You know you can't cross them. Look at the density of the signage. A lot of signs means a complex, high-risk area.
Okay, so design clues. What's second?
Second is behavior clues. What are the other humans around you doing? Is that pedestrian at the curb hesitating? Are the brake lights of the car 5 vehicles ahead coming on? Did that driver just indicate far too late?
And the third type of clue?
Environment clues. This is the big picture. Visibility, weather, time of day.
There was a statistic about night driving in one of the sources that really jumped out at me.
The risk multiplier.
Yeah. You are 1.8 times more likely to be involved in a fatal incident at night.
Almost double the risk. And a reason for that isn't just because it's dark, that's too simple. It's that we don't adjust our speed for the darkness.
We drive at daytime speeds in nighttime conditions.
Precisely. Rule 126 states that you must always be able to stop well within the distance you can see to be clear. So think about it. If you're doing 70 on an unlit A road with dipped headlights, your total stopping distance is roughly 100 meters.
Right.
Do your dipped headlights illuminate the road for 100 meters ahead?
Not even close.
Then you are overdriving your headlights. You are literally driving into a black void hoping it's empty. If there's a broken down car or a deer or a drunk pedestrian in that void, you will hit it. You probably won't even have time to brake before you hit it.
So the environment scan says, clue. It is night. Action. My vision is limited, therefore my speed must drop. It connects the clue directly to the action.
Exactly.
Which brings us to stack layer 3, the gap, or what you call the space contract.
This is, at the end of the day, the only thing on the road you can truly control. You can't control the person tailgating you. You can't control the traffic lights. But you can always control the space in front of your bumper.
And the classic rule here is the 2-second rule from Rule 126.
It's a classic for a reason. It works. It's so simple. You're on a dry road. You pick a fixed point ahead, a lamppost, a bridge shadow, anything. When the car in front of you passes it, you start counting. 1001, 1002.
And if you pass that same point before you've finished saying 2, you're too close.
You have no buffer, no margin for error.
And of course, we need to adjust this for those multipliers we talked about earlier.
Absolutely. If it's wet, it's no longer the 2-second rule. It becomes the 4-second rule.
4 seconds. That feels like an eternity on a busy road.
It does. And this is where the social pressure really kicks in. If you leave a proper 4-second gap on the M25,
Someone will cut into it.
someone will cut into it, guaranteed. And the instinct, the ego-driven instinct, is to get angry and close the gap again, to defend your piece of tarmac.
But that is exactly the wrong instinct.
It's the worst thing you can do. The code actually calls tailgating an act of intimidation. And think about what you're doing. If you tailgate, you are outsourcing your safety completely to the driver in front. If they panic brake for any reason, you crash. It's that simple. Why would you give a total stranger that much power over your life and your property?
There's also a specific note in Rule 126 about tunnels, which is interesting. It mandates a 4-second gap in tunnels for large vehicles, but it's just good practice for everyone.
Tunnels are incredibly high-risk environments. There are no escape routes. Visibility can change suddenly. You have to keep the gap.
Okay, so that's the full stack. 1, audit your haste. 2, scan the environment. 3, defend the gap.
If you do those 3 things consistently, you move from driving by guessing to driving with precision.
But now we have to tackle the elephant in the room. The reason we skip the stack. The reason we speed in the first place. The ROI.
Section 3, the ROI of speed, the return on investment.
We speed because we want a return. The return we want is time. We want to get where we're going faster. But the math is actually quite depressing, isn't it?
It's a terrible business decision. Let's just look at the numbers that were provided in the source material. Imagine you're in a 30 zone. You decide to push it up to 35. You feel like you're making progress. You feel faster.
So how much time do you actually save?
Over the distance of 1 mile, the time difference is approximately 17 seconds.
17 seconds.
That is less time than it takes to tie your shoelaces. Is that 17 seconds worth 3 penalty points? Is it worth a 100-pound fine? Is it worth the massively increased stopping distance that might cause you to hit a child stepping out?
What about on the motorway? Let's say 70 versus 80 miles an hour.
Well, it feels like you're flying at 80, doesn't it? You feel like you're making huge progress. But the cold, hard math says you save 6 seconds per mile.
So over a typical 10-mile stretch of motorway, you save 1 minute.
1 single minute. But in exchange for that minute, you are burning significantly more fuel because air resistance squares with speed. Your stress levels are higher because you're constantly scanning for police cars, and your risk of death in a crash skyrockets.
But the negative ROI, it's just a bad deal. You're investing extremely high risk for a negligible, almost laughable reward.
If a financial advisor came to you and said, I have an investment for you, you risk losing your house, and if it pays off, you'll gain a pound coin, you'd think they were insane.
Right.
But we make that exact same bet on the M25 every single day.
Let's talk about the ripple effects. This is a major theme in that anonymous reflection paper. Speeding isn't a victimless crime, even if you don't actually crash.
No, not at all. First, there's the personal cost. The fines, the points, the huge increase in your insurance premiums for years to come.
And the professional cost.
This is a big one. If you lose your license, can you actually do your job? If you're a sales rep, a delivery driver, or if you just live in a rural area with no public transport, losing your license can be a personal and professional catastrophe.
And it affects your family logistics. Who does the school run? Who takes an elderly parent to a hospital appointment?
Exactly. Then there's the societal cost.
The source quoted a figure here that I found genuinely staggering.
The cost of road collisions in the UK is 43.2 billion per year.
Billion, with a B.
With a B. That figure includes medical costs, police time, fire services, damage to infrastructure, lost economic output from people being unable to work. That is money that is coming directly out of our taxes. We are quite literally crashing our own economy.
And finally, and most importantly, the human cost.
The hard data. And it's brutal. 1,800 people killed per year. That is 5 people every single day who leave the house in the morning and never come back. 29,700 seriously injured. That's 81 people a day whose lives are changed forever. The total casualty figure killed or injured is 158,000 people per year.
The source visualized that number in a really powerful way. It's roughly the entire population of the city of Cambridge.
Imagine if every year we just wiped out the entire city of Cambridge. We wouldn't accept that in any other context. If 158,000 people were hurt in train crashes, we'd shut down the entire rail network overnight.
Right.
But on the roads, for some reason, we just tolerate it.
Okay. So we know the diagnostics. We have the safe speed stack as a framework. We know the ROI on speeding is terrible. But in the heat of the moment, when the pressure's on, all that theory can just go out the window.
It does.
We need tools to override the emotion. We need scripts.
Exactly.
So section 4, practical scripts. We've pulled together 6 specific say it like this lines, all based on the source material. These are designed to short circuit those bad habits as they're happening.
These are lines you can say either to yourself or out loud to your passenger.
Okay, let's start with script number 1, self-talk, the late script. You're running late for that big meeting. The panic is setting in. What do you say to yourself?
You say, my arrival time is determined by traffic flow, not my top speed. Arriving calm is better than not arriving at all.
I like that. It resets the expectation. It's an act of surrender to the flow of the traffic.
Script 2, self-talk, the unsure script. You're driving on a new road, you've missed the last speed limit sign, you don't know if it's 30 or 40.
You say, I see streetlights, so I assume 30 until I see a sign. Uncertainty defaults too slow.
Script 3, passenger talk. The distraction script. The kids are fighting in the back, or your friend in the passenger seat is trying to show you a meme on their phone. Rule 148 says you must avoid distractions.
What do you say?
You say, firmly but calmly, I need to terminate this conversation right now to focus on the road. It sounds a bit formal, maybe a bit robotic, but it works. It signals driver mode is on.
It's clear.
Script 4, passenger talk. The peer pressure script. This is for when you've got that one friend who's always saying, come on, step on it, let's see what this car can do.
You say, my license pays my mortgage. We do the limit in this car.
Make it about the money. People seem to respect the financial reality of it more than just the safety aspects sometimes.
That's a great one. Script 5, the pre-drive script. The source suggested a 10-second reset before you even move the car.
Yes, you get in before you release the handbrake, you take a breath and you say out loud, GPS is set, music is set, phone is away, I am not in a rush.
Even if you are in a rush.
Especially if you are in a rush. You have to lie to your own nervous system to calm it down before you set off.
And finally, script 6, the gap script. Someone cuts in front of you, stealing your safe space. The immediate instinct is anger.
Instead of anger, you reframe it. You say to yourself, they just stole my braking distance. I will now drop back to reclaim my 2 seconds.
Reclaim my 2 seconds. I love that phrasing. It frames dropping back not as a weakness, but as an active, powerful choice. You are taking control of your safety space.
Exactly. You are managing the physics, not your ego.
Okay, let's try and bring all of this together. Section 5, the mini case. We're going to apply the safe speed stack to a real-world scenario.
Okay. Let's go back to that story from earlier. It's me, it's November, it's 5:00 p.m., so it's dusk, that really dangerous gray light, and it's raining.
Okay.
I'm driving home on a single carriageway. It's a national speed limit zone, so theoretically, the limit is 60 miles an hour.
And you're tired. It's been a long day at work.
Yeah.
Your haste factor is high.
It is. I'm approaching a village. The limit is about to drop from 60 to 30. Now, the old me would have felt the urge to just lift off the accelerator and coast into the 30 zone.
The lazy coast.
The lazy coast. I'd probably enter the village doing 45, gently braking, thinking to myself, well, I'm slowing down. It's fine.
But we know that's dangerous. So today, you apply the stack. What's the first step?
Step 1, the internal audit. Haste. I recognize that I am tired and stressed. I can feel the tension in my shoulders, my grip on the wheel, so I deliberately unclench my hands. I tell myself, my reaction times are slow today. I need to compensate.
Good. Step 2, the stack and the environment.
It's raining. So Rule 227 applies immediately. My stopping distance is doubled. So instead of a normal gap, I look at the car ahead and I start counting. 1001, 1002, 1003, 1004. I physically back off until I have that huge buffer.
Excellent. Step 3, what clues are you scanning for?
I can see the streetlights of the village appearing ahead. So even though I haven't passed the 30-mile-an-hour sign yet, I apply the logic from Rule 124. I start braking before the hazard. I brake firmly and deliberately. My goal is to be at 30 at the sign, not 10 meters after it.
And step 4, visibility.
It's dusk. It's raining. Visibility is poor. I apply Rule 113. I double-check my lights. Yep. Dipped headlights are on. I need to see, but just as importantly, I need to be seen.
So now the outcome. You are driving through the village. Because of the rain and the darkness, you're actually doing a little under the limit, maybe 25 miles an hour. You have that big 4-second gap to the car in front.
And then it happens. Rule 152 becomes a reality. A child, maybe chasing a ball, steps out from between 2 parked vans right in front of me.
Now, let's play out the alternative timeline. If you were doing the lazy coast and entered the village at 38, maybe 40 miles an hour.
In the wet, With my tired reactions, I would slam on the brakes, but the physics are no longer on my side. The wheels would lock. I had skied. I would probably hit that child at close to 30 miles an hour.
And the result of that is?
A fatality. Or a life-changing injury. My life would be ruined. Their family's life would be destroyed. There would be police, a court case, possibly prison.
But in this timeline, you were doing 25. And you had the 4-second gap.
So I hit the brakes hard, the ABS chatters because the road is wet. But because my initial speed was so low, my stopping distance is incredibly short. I stop, maybe 10 feet away from the child.
And then what happens?
Nothing. There is no crash, no sound of metal on bone. The child looks scared and runs back to the pavement. I take a deep, shaky breath, and then I drive home. And I cook dinner.
It's a non-event.
That is the entire goal of the Safe Speed Stack. To turn potential life-altering tragedies into complete non-events. It's just physics working in your favor because you chose to respect the contract.
That's a powerful image to hold on to.
Yeah.
As we wrap up, let's give our listeners the outro accountability. What are the 3 concrete actions they can take this week?
Okay. Action number 1, the 10-second pause. I want you to adopt this habit immediately. The next time you get in your car, do not just turn the key and go. Sit for 10 seconds. Set your sat nav. Choose your music or your podcast. Check your haste state. Once those wheels start moving, your phone is dead to you.
Good. Action number 2, the fluid check. The source material mentions vehicle maintenance. Once a week, check your fluid levels, especially brake fluid and screen wash, and check your tires. This is crucial in winter. If you have low brake fluid, you effectively have brake failure. You can have the best reactions in the world, but if the hydraulics fail, you are not stopping.
And action number 3, the 2-second test. On your very next drive, actually do it. Pick a fixed point on the road ahead. Count the gap between you and the car in front. I guarantee you will be shocked at how close you usually drive. Your job is to then push that gap out. Calibrate your eyes to what safe really looks like.
And we'll leave you with one final metric to remember.
The number is 158,000. That is the number of people killed or injured on UK roads every single year. The entire population of Cambridge.
We are trying to reduce that number by 1. You.
I'll leave you with a final thought that came from one of those reflection papers. The road does not belong to you. It belongs to everyone. The most executive decision you will make today is to drive safely.
Drive safe, everyone. Thanks for listening to The Deep Dive.
See you next time.